When last I was streaming, I had finished up drawing this first character, Nicole. She's got kind of a fierce look. She's the character that I used in this preview image. Um, she's mixed race, and she's kind of a hothead, and she has cool style, and she's one of the two main characters in this story. The second character is not being featured on this page, so we won't get to see her today, but there are a couple of side characters, Izzy and Dirk, who I'm going to draw. I spent a little while drawing Izzy, who's kind of a I don't know. So she's different gender-wise. I'm not exactly sure what her deal is yet, but I've had fun drawing her, and she's come out pretty much as I'd hoped. Kind of a squarish frame, but also a cuteness and a femininity, I guess. I keep using that. I keep using masculine and feminine terms when it comes to describing these characters, and I kind of wish I had better ways of putting it because I don't know. Gender is nonsense, problematic nonsense, and I'm drawing kids as I feel like today uh, teens have this freedom to express gender in ways that is pretty awesome and experimental and you know a cheerleader could look like this and that's cool. Anywho, that is Izzy, and I'm just putting some final details on her shirt. Let's see, getting it to look a little bit more realistic, making it look like it's hanging on a body. um, I'm not sure what's going to go on it yet. I'm going to check in with writer Jenny Wood. Hey Jenny, maybe you're listening. And I will see if she has any idea for like a nod to a Florence and the Machine song or something like that. That would be cool to have on that T-shirt. I'm not actually a huge fan of Florence and the Machine. Like I like them and I dig them, but I don't know their catalog very well. And I've been played many cool songs, and I've been getting into them definitely a bit more since working on this project. But I don't really know a lot of references, and I'm not. Uh, I wouldn't be confident just kind of making something up for a T-shirt in this book when it could be a smart and witty nod to the band that this book is dedicated to and inspired by. So I'm just throwing some shadow shapes on this sleeve to kind of give it a little texture and a little interest. There we go. Yeah. And so like a big chunky block like this, it's really a great way to just delineate a whole section of the body. Like your brain kind of sees everything as I don't know, a connected bunch of skeleton bones. And so you just need to kind of throw a big shape down and your brain kind of does the rest. It sees the arm, it sees the shape, it sees the angle, it sees the connection. You don't really need to be that. I don't know. Sometimes things are stronger when they're less detailed. And there are. Yeah, look at that. Those arms look great. And it's just like a couple rectangles at the right angle. It's just a matter of getting them to connect the right way and and look okay. All right, that looks good. I'm gonna make this angle like that. Pull this down. Yeah, so that's some good detailing. Let's see. The shoulder can be a little bit more interesting. I'm gonna bring that down and have these two shadows overlap to give a little bit of a crease. That. It's not realistic, but it adds interest and helps flesh out the shape of her shoulders a little bit better. There we go. That's nice. Yeah, I like the kind of textural blue. I had a ringer shirt like this when I was in high school. It was my favorite shirt. I still have it somewhere. It had a Sonic Youth logo on it. Um, and that's the shirt I'm imagining this teenager wearing. Maybe for now I will just draw a big Sonic Youth bunny on it. Why not? I think the 90s are back, right? Teens are into grunge rock. So I just need to know where to send my demo. I'm ready. I'm ready for the grunge rock resurgence. so I can finally be a rock star. Oh my god, finally. All right, I'm gonna put a placeholder pink bunny here as a reference to my dirty album era Sonic Youth t-shirt that had a big stuffed animal bunny on it. It's a bunny. We all like bunnies, right? They're great. I feel like the internet is getting really into bunnies. Maybe I just have a few friends that are really into bunnies, and Facebook is blowing up with bunny stuff a lot. But I don't know. Are bunnies going to be like the new goats? Nothing, cats and dogs on the internet will be there forever, right? But I feel like bunnies and goats have to kind of wrestle for like who's next after dogs and cats for the internet as like the cute favorites. Bunnies versus goats for the internet. That thought went nowhere. And this shape went nowhere too. I'm just going to draw some eyes on this bunny, call it a day, because I'm going to check in with the writer about it. And she'll know what to do. There we go. There's a great bunny. All right, now his face is cool. Now I like him. I'm going to draw even more of the bunny, even though it said I was done. And I always do that. I'm like, I'm done with this. Let me just finish this one thing, and then I change a shape, and everything changes. And suddenly, my brain sees what I have to do to make a piece work. And then time goes by. But hey, that's a pretty rad bunny. I'm into it. I'm into you, little bunny. You work. You work, bunny. Good job. It doesn't actually work with the t-shirt or the scene. It's a little too much. Here, it's going to be distracting. So, oh man, I shouldn't be taking any time on this at all. I want to move on to the next character, but I'm going to make this bunny okay. Group it. I'm going to reduce its transparency down to that. There we go. That's a little better. And I'm going to take these. Oops. Take the ears off. Right now, that's what the bunny will be. Now, put them back. Make them multiply so they're a little darker. All right. That is sort of it's a pretty bad drawing of a bunny. Here, let me scale it down. Sorry, it was meant to be throwaway, but it got distracting. All right. Good. All right. All right. So let me just check. This is still streaming. Yes, it's still going, I think. All right. Now to start on the third character. And probably bounce back and forth a little bit with the other characters. So the third character here is Dirk. Let's take a look at him in the thumbnail. So he is a tall, goofy nerd who's kind of artistic. We only meet him this once really, and then once later. But he doesn't really have a line later. We just see him off to the side. So this is kind of when we get a shot of him. But we find out later that he's an artist, and he's friends with girls, and it makes me think he's kind of weird and kind of offbeat looking, but kind of nerdy too. They insinuate later that he would never get into trouble. He just draws comics, and so he's that kind of a nerd. So I'm gonna make him tall, just so he looks different than Izzy, and make him kind of long in the face. And I'm imagining him with kind of big square glasses and little dot eyes, which is kind of a standard thing, and kind of floofy blonde hair. Just because I think I don't know, tall guys with glasses and floofy blonde hair are cute. So I'm going to make him look like that, and we'll see how that goes. Right now, his skin tone, I don't know, uh, skin tone. Well, this is what Izzy's skin tone is. I'm gonna give him a little bit of a different color. Yeah, more like that. It's subtle, and I can always change it. I'm gonna layer so many colors on him that this base color, it matters, but it's not super important to get right for a specific skin tone just yet. Alright. Oops. So I'm going to steal some of Izzy's shades and start just sort of plunking them around. Oop. I'm going to take her eye square, even though I don't want them to actually match, but his glasses are going to be kind of big and square, like that. Change the color. I don't know what. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to render his glasses. I don't want them to be that clunky or obvious, but we'll see. Actually, this background is giving me a problem because it's so light. It shouldn't be. So this background gradient, why is this color like this? It's been reduced in transparency. That doesn't make any sense. And that green is just sort of wrong anyway. Let me make it better. I'll get the wall color looking right later. I just want it to be kind of simple and not too distracting at the moment. I'll match it to its previous scenes as I get a little farther in. But right now I just want to concentrate on the character, as I keep saying. Oop. Alright. Well, doing that also made me realize that Izzy's shirt has no white background to it, so let me draw a quick shape. Like this. And throw that shape behind her blue shape. Alright. Okay, back to Dirk. Got little eyes here and here. Like them being a little off in size. We'll see. Mouth is here. Give it just a dark shade. I'll fix the color up. And then here. I don't know. Let's make his hair kind of cute, but like a little dumb. Right? Boop. It's a little punk. He's not really that punk. But let's see how punk we can make Dirk without it being obviously punk, and without him losing his dorky qualities. That is a good challenge. Alright, let's see. I'm going to take away the thumbnails. Boop. Alright. Yeah, I like this so far. He's looking tall and kind of androgynous, but believable and kind of human. I like that. And his lips shouldn't be this red, but I just took Izzy's lips and moved them over. So let's give him a distinctive lip color. Top lip is just a darkening shape. Bottom lip can be a little bit more on the orange side, I guess. A little less. There we go. So he's not wearing lip liner or any kind of makeup. So, yeah, that's alright. I like him having a big old nose. Boom. I like that shape, but the color is problematic. I'm just going to create a shape that's the same color as the skin and go multiply. And that way I'll be able to blend the colors and make this one pretty subtle. Well, so much for that. There, that's better. I like this. With this story, I'm trying to be kind of loose. My style it's weird, and I don't always know when to stop when it comes to detailing. I can make things more and more realistic and keep getting more and more precise with the details and the features of someone's face, especially. In this story, I'm really trying to be more expressive with it. I'm trying to give it a different look from my other comics and drawings. It's not super different, but I, and I, in the past, I've struggled with making things look kind of sketchy. With my webcomic Into the Mountain, I had a style that I thought was sort of sketchy in a vector art way, and it ended up looking kind of a little too messy to me. And so I've been, I stopped the comic a while back, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it one of these days. But I'd like it to look a lot better and more refined looking. In this comic, I'm trying to experiment with a style that is loose but not messy. And for me, the difference is making sure every element really has a purpose, and every line and every point have a real reason to be where they are. But that doesn't mean these shapes have to like line up perfectly or connect to one another. There can be gaps. Ears can go, ears can be floating, or noses can be a separate shape. Or the way that this face here is a very just a loose bunch of shapes. I'm feeling like it's actually like exactly what I want him to look like. I'm gonna give him a little bit more detail, but like just this kind of loose bunch of shapes is a style of face that I've been playing with in this story, and I'm enjoying it. And it's a challenge for me to loosen up and to leave things kind of in a raw state. It's not really my style, but I guess it is now, and I'm having fun with it. So yeah, this story, it's going to be out in the fall of 2018, and I hope you dig it. I think it's going to be something really special, and I'm having a lot of fun drawing it, and I've totally fallen in love with the characters, and writer Jenny Wood really seems to dig what I'm doing as well. So that feels awesome when I keep sending her pages to like check and be like, oh, is this okay? And she really has had like nothing but really awesome things to say to me about it, and that feels great. So yeah, working in a vacuum's hard when you're an artist that makes stuff on your own like this. That is like, the comics pipeline is a team effort in a lot of ways. Whether you're a editor, or you're doing thumbnails, or you're doing pencils, or you're doing inks, you're doing colors, you're doing letters. But if you're doing all that stuff yourself, you don't get to bounce your ideas around very much, and yeah, it can get a little lonely. So it's nice to have a writer chime in and give you their opinions. Anyway, how's Dirk looking? It's looking a little robot-y, but that's okay. Let me see. What can we do with these glasses to make them a little more interesting? I duplicated that shape. I like it. I like him looking kind of odd. Alright, glasses, and they'll need a little crossbar. Boop. I like that. Just like a little bar. That's all we need. And I make it a grayer color. Maybe. Oh no. He's so pale. Dirk, you're so pale. What are we going to do? Alright. Maybe it has to be a darker color. As long as it's subtle. I just don't want it to be too glaringly chunky on his face. There, I made it smaller. I'll give him a little bit of side glasses. Like that. Yeah, that looks dumb. Anyway, I'm liking how he's looking anyway. Let's get this eye. Well, actually, the shade falling on his face, it, as much as it's not realistic yet, I actually think it's going to work well with the composition, the way that this angle is falling. I like it so much that I'm going to build his face around a couple of these features. yeah, I hope you're enjoying this. Let me see. I haven't looked at my feed. Okay, it's still going. Okay, yeah. If you have any questions or anything or any comments, just pop them in the comments of the feed, and I will answer them live if I see them, or I'll just write you back later if I don't see them pop up. I have Facebook open on my laptop that I'm not focusing on. I'm using that to just sort of check and make sure I'm still running and still live, but those comments aren't going to pop up on the screen that I'm staring at, so it might be a few minutes if you ask a question, but feel free to. Oh, I'm liking Dirk so much. Look at this. Look at this beautiful dork. All right. So he looks interesting. He doesn't look like trouble. He's a nerd, but he's got some style because he reads comics. Comics make you cool. You hear that, everybody? Comics make you cool. Yeah. All right, nose. He's looking a little more cubist than I'd quite intended, but I like it. Is it cubist? I don't know. Do I think, does that word not really mean what I think it means? I don't know what it means. People say my stuff is cubist once in a while. I'm like, well, maybe. I have a hard time figuring out what to call my artwork, what style it is. But it's not a terrible problem to have. I'm okay with it. I am comfortable with ambiguity and inhabiting a liminal space. How's his ear looking? Oh, that looks good. Dark. It's a little dark. There we go. Boop. Cute. Oh, look at this guy. Forgot that ear shape isn't its own shape, so I have to. Sorry, I'm mumbling my thought process here. I thought the shadow shape that I just threw on top of this ear would get cut off by the face's shape, but it's actually, this is one big outline, so it's not getting, needs to be thought differently. Oh, that's good. That gives the right angle of the ear. A little shape that pokes into the ear, grabs the light a little bit, but isn't too distracting. There we go. Oh, now his ear is super lopsided. It's funny. My thumbnails often have a really great vibe to them and are really very loose and there's a lot of motion, and I usually really I like my thumbnail results pretty often. It's fun to draw that way since I spend the rest of the time drawing like this. But I often have the anatomy in them so super wrong, and it only comes out when you're actually staring at it like this. That like, oh, that ear shouldn't stick out that way, or oh, that limb is way too big, like bizarrely distorted. But within with a loose, flowy thumbnail, it just sort of works, and you don't notice it until you look at it as hard as you do when you render it. That's part of why rendering takes a while. Even if thumbnails seem to be good, they can be really off. This is looking good. I like the way the light is catching his ear. Yeah, cool. I'm okay with the asymmetry in his ears. I also feel like I made him a little older looking than I intended, but I'm okay with that. I thought he'd be a little twerpier, but I really like the kind of bold lines in his face that we have. We're only going to see him a couple times, so might as well make him interesting. So what if this is what? Yeah, I'm gonna give his hair a second color, but I don't want it to be like obnoxious. So I'm just gonna do that. I'll multiply a similar color, and then I'll just adjust it to be, yeah, that's nice. Just another multiply. Boop. Straighten out that hair. All right. Oop. Wrong color. There we go. All right, Dirk's looking good. Bunny. All right. Yeah, I like Dirk a lot. What else should I do with his eyes? They're a little nothing. And having just blank white eyes is a little creepy. So let's give him some pupils, I guess. But like really small ones. Boop. And subtle ones. Like that. That adds to his kind of nerdy qualities. Having an eye that's like intense like that. Boop. Yeah, I like this. I don't. Let's see if I can make that second eye the right color. Yeah. Okay, it's better when if they're the same color, they can be a different size, and it's sort of okay. I think. Maybe. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if they're different size eyes. I'm not trying to make him weird. I'm just trying to make him kind of cute. Yeah, got a little under eye. He's the kind of guy like he might weird you out a little bit. Then when you get to know him, you realize he's super nice, and he draws comics, so he's cool. All right, so these glasses, I'm going to turn them into lines. All right, it's sort of funny, but it works. I don't know. I find drawing glasses super annoying. Like it's just they have to be so perfectly positioned, and they just have to be drawn very precisely, or else they look kind of goofy and off. So my philosophy with this dude is just to make them kind of chunky and not necessarily realistic looking, because I don't know, realistic glasses are. There's no Eisner Award for drawing a good pair of glasses, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. That's my philosophy. All right, so his eyes are looking neat. I'm going to add a little bit more detail to his face. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to overdo it though. I feel like his face is kind of neat already. You should have eyebrows, right? Okay, eyebrows for you, Dirk. All right. Wow, they made him look weird. Now he looks like a weird person instead of a cute drawing. Yeah, that's the thing about eyebrows. They make you look more human. They make the drawing look human. And so if other elements aren't necessarily that human looking and are kind of just expressive and weird, eyebrows can make everything look wrong. Ugh. Eyebrows. That doesn't work at all. Alright, man, what if I darken them? That's a little better. Alright, I'll get over my hang up of eyebrows. Make them less saturated. Yeah, I guess subtlety is the key with these eyebrows. I will make them like that. Perfect. what's up with his mouth? Try not to overcomplicate mouths. They're usually just a few shapes, unless you're looking inside. So there's an outer lip shape that is both, like basically the entire mouth, and then a shadowy upper lip. I'm going to make this a different color. To kind of, so I think he's delivering a line in this frame. And I guess, I don't know. I don't think characters need to have their mouths like wide open if they're talking in a comic. But I want him to at least look animated. So, yeah, I guess that's okay. This looks okay to me. I think it's alright. So, he's a little goofy, but I'm digging it. I think it's all about that eye. And I like that. I'm okay with that. I struggle against realism, you know? Like, why bother? Why bother with realism? Alright, now to his shirt. I'm just going to give him kind of a frumpy, large dress shirt. So here's a collar piece, bump. I'm going to draw another half of the collar. And so this is a giant shape. I'm going to cut it up. And make a couple shirts out of it. So this will be one side of his shirt, like that. I'm going to close the shape up, like that. Similarly, I'll close this up, but then I'll chop it in half again. Here and here. So I just created 3 separate shapes from that one blob. And now this shape can turn into his outer shirt, and he'll have a t-shirt underneath. So now we just get to draw them. These are the starting shapes. And let's see what happens. I don't want it to look like he's wearing a bowling shirt. That's sort of what it looks like right now. It's like one of those terrible shirts that men wore in like the late 90s and early aughts. They were like, had bold like mustard stripes and like olive silk fabric sometimes. Like hideous shirts. Okay, so like this shirt's giving me a flashback. I need to change the color right now. Alright. Do we put him in a pink shirt? Well, I don't know. It doesn't really go with stuff. Maybe green. Maybe green was the right way to go, but it was a little much. Green would be good. Other characters aren't necessarily wearing a lot of green in this story, so he'll stand out. I think. Well, let's see. And then collar would be also pretty green. I think. Actually, the sky blue is kind of nice. What happens if that becomes that color? And then lightens it. Nope. Oh, I kind of like that with light color. Yeah, that color's a little too soft. That's a good combo. A nice bright blue on a blonde guy with like a slightly turquoisey collar. Actually, let's give this shirt a lining so it gives a little bit more shape. Wow, it's totally one of those 90s shirts with the color stripes. Oh, maybe they're coming back. If the 90s are coming back, maybe so are these terrible striped shirts that men wore in the 90s. We'll find out. There might be have to be a second pass at this artwork to correct for fashion. Alright, I believe the stream is still going. It should be on for another 10 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to keep drawing him, and if it cuts out and ends abruptly, sorry about that, but thanks for watching. I get in kind of a groove when I'm drawing. I don't really watch the time, and time really does fly, and I've been just sort of chatting to myself, hoping that I'll be interesting, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Please chime in with comments or drop me a note if there's something you'd like to see, or if you have a question about anything. Please just let me know. Multiply. So that shape just has all the wrong stuff. Here's the right color on it. There we go. We'll build a little depth with some shadiness. It's a complicated file, so I had to move everything. I forget that when I create all these shapes, they're not necessarily layered correctly. So like parts of his shirt were actually in front of Izzy. I had to just bring them back. That's what was just happening there. Not super interesting. Unlike this collar, which is super interesting. I actually really like the way the light's falling on it. Collars are another thing, like kind of like ears. I was mentioning earlier, like you just kind of get a formula. Don't really think about whether it looks real or not. It just looks like a collar, and you draw it, and that's how your collars look. Right? That's how my collars look, at least in this case. Well, maybe. Not sure about it, but it's not bad. All right, Dirk. Kind of dig your style. So, one thing about being a shapeless blob shirt is that when you try and put a shape in it, it suddenly looks super wrong. The color, let's make the color blue of this shadow. Usually I don't add a lot of color into shadows, but this color is such a clear, sharp blue that any other hue seems to not really look right. Yeah, so he's wearing like kind of just a big old baggy shirt. I'm into that. Yay, I like this. He's looking good. It's funny, I drew that little sketch of him weeks ago, and I'm just now getting to actually drawing him. So it's really nice. It's fun to finally get to the drawing stage, get to the drawing board after the drafting board of thumbnails. It's nice to finally see this character that's in your head come to life. Yeah, I'm digging it. He's got a good look. I think Izzy needs a little bit more going on, doesn't she? Alright, she's not quite done yet. Is he going to have a pocket? Yes, he has a pocket. And I think this needs to come. That collar shape needs to be in front of the neck. So that would look a little bit better. There we go. And then the neck can come down and make it look like there's a line there. Yeah, that's a nice little shape. Yeah, I want the t-shirt to look as if it's lying underneath. There. It's a tiny little difference, but yeah, it helps make it feel a little real. Okay, t-shirt. What kind of t-shirts is it going to be wearing? I don't know. Again, I didn't really talk to the writer yet about any references or details, so I'm going to just put a shape in it like that and just call that a day. That's iconic. If it has to be just like that, that'll be okay, but maybe we can make a clever, when you see this in print, it might have a clever Florence and the Machine reference on a t-shirt. Stay tuned. All right, this is looking pretty good. Hey, Dirk. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more to Izzy's hair. Her hair kind of got shortchanged. So I'm going to use color dodge, which lightens and brightens like that. So it's a matter of making this front color something on the blue spectrum that's not too bright, but will highlight nicely. Kind of like what I did over on Nicole's hair, with like some chunks like that. There we go. That's all we needed. Color dodge. What a great layering option. There, that's better. One more shape. Not multiply. Want it color dodge. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Now Izzy has a little bit more interest going on in her hair, as well as the blue streaks. The neck is subtle but okay. Alright, Dirk's looking pretty good. I can't tell if it's crude or not. I can't tell if it's like too clunky, but I kind of like it. I'm gonna maybe call it a day on him. And again, these are B characters, so well, I think he could use a little bit more shape in his shirt. Actually, now that I look at it, let's give him some depth. Oops. So this is not quite right, but oh, it's even more one of those tacky shirts. All right, that is good. Yeah, that bright blue is just a little too much. This is 35% multiply of this light tannish gradient. And it kind of softens that intense blue. Yeah, I like that. And it kind of makes the shape of his shirt a little less straightforward. Yeah, I'm into that. Let's give it a little bit more interest here as well. Bring that to the front. Again, they're in a sun-drenched hallway with bizarre angled lighting. So I'm going to put one more shape down here. And I think I'm going to kind of call Dirk done for the day. All right, so let's take one last look at this bunch that we just drew. All right, so here we are. We have Nicole, we have Izzy, and we have Dirk. 3 characters from the story Cosmic Love in the Cosmic Love anthology, which I'm drawing a story written by Jenny Wood. It's stories in comics and artwork inspired by the music of Florence and the Machine. It's going to be out this fall of 2018. So anyway, I hope you've had a good time. This has been a fun drawing for you. My name's Josh Siegel. I'm aka Mod Hero. You can follow me at Mod Hero on Instagram or here on Facebook. And yeah, please let me know if you enjoyed this or if you have any questions or comments. Take care.